Hello, and welcome back to Closings and Cuddles. My name is Karen Barrios, and I'm here with my co-host, Raymond Barrios.
What's up, everybody?
And we are back.
Yeah, we're back.
For those who don't know, and you've just stumbled upon our podcast, we are full-time real estate agents, and we're support and city folks here and buying great property in Bakersfield. And then we also support all of our lovely clients in the mountains and Pine Mountains. So not only is real estate a full-time gig on its own, but podcasting could be too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And all the social media and all the stuff in the background. And we've just been really working on our systems and our business, and we just cannot wait for all the things that we're doing. And it's all just helping us grow.
It's been good. Yeah, we had to. We kind of made a pivot. We had to make an audible. And this year we closed on a ton of houses. So it's one of those things where some people make content full time. Like that's what they do for a living. That's their career.
Yeah.
For us, it's a support to the real estate business. We already have a business. YouTube isn't our business. It just supports that. So it's like, take care of clients or make content. And so these people have like the most important asset of their life entrusted to us. So we have to kind of prioritize that. So in the last, this first quarter of the year, we've made a few key hires that you'll probably interact with those people. They're pretty awesome. We have some assistants that we hired, coordinators that we've hired, really awesome people. And they've been helping us kind of optimize the back end. So we have like a project management system that's been built out. Doing all that stuff on Asana. Most of our consumer clients don't care about that. If you're in real estate, you're probably interested in how we do that. We might teach that. But we've been kind of building that out so that we can do this more efficiently, more effectively. It doesn't burden what we're doing on the real estate side. And it just kind of enhances our kind of calendar so that we can do it and be more present when we do it.
But we're gonna go back to our once a week schedule. Like
we're ready. It's all built.
And just this year, it was a full year. We started off really strong. We have already closed the 9 transactions. We have 5 right now in escrow. There's going to be 4 that are going to close in the next maybe 2 weeks.
Yep.
So it's been...
We got 7 listings in the pipeline.
I know, which is crazy. So there's going to be some really great listings coming soon in Pine Mountain Club in Q2, especially May, June time, and most likely June time. And everybody's getting ready for that. And then I'm working on, with all the buyers. So it's just been a really great, interesting time for us to grow our business in so many different ways. And but we miss podcasts. We miss being here in YouTube, and actually our community here on YouTube has been growing.
I'm surprised. It's not exploding, but I'm like, okay,
it's amazing. It's really encouraging. All your comments, all of your likes, all of your shares. Thank you so much. It means the world to us because we do put a lot of effort and work on everything that we do. I mean, like today, we're, it's a time where we could be doing our own thing and we could be resting, but we are excited to talk about what's been going on. I know we're going to talk about 3 different topics. You're going to introduce them in a little bit, but I think that there's going to be a lot of information and just like these little conversations we're going to have through today's podcast. And I think that that's how we want to do it moving forward, right?
Yeah.
I think that way we can...
Well, we're taking feedback too. We've had I believe it was our dog trainer. She gave us the feedback. She's like, I feel like if it's great, but structure it and I can tune it longer. So we're taking the feedback real time.
Yeah, so give us feedback.
It's making it better. It's making our stuff better.
Yeah, if there's anything that you guys are thinking, hey, this could be better.
Or I want to learn more about that, or try doing this, or shorten this or do that. It helps us kind of curate things a lot more.
Because remember, the reason why we named it Closing Cuddles too is because it's not just about real estate. It's well, of course, closings, more geared towards like business and real estate and that aspect of our life, which we're very much, which consumes a lot of our time. But then also the cuddles part, which is relationship, which is marriage, family,
all that stuff.
And all that stuff that sometimes it's not that I don't want to bring people along. It's just that I think that we needed to find a way to do it. And I've been doing a lot more blogs. And like today, we did blogs.
To Lockwood.
And we went on this really awesome showing. We took our client there. I can't wait to kind of share that blog with you guys. And so I might just end up editing them all and posting them at once, and then you can kind of watch them at your own time. But we went to a conference. Like, I've been doing a lot of blogging. I just, now we're figuring out just how to put all that content together and so that it's consumable and great for people.
And those are the aforementioned systems that we had to build to make it
let's get to what we're talking about. It's already 5 minutes and we're just going on. So we need to
just jump in.
Yeah. So what are the 3 things we're going to be talking about today?
We have 3 things. I'm always going to break them down into the areas that we kind of service and support. Let's just jump into the first one. And we're breaking this down where we have PMC as our main squeeze. Bakersfield's another main squeeze. We'll always give the latest and greatest happenings and news in the market there, what we're seeing. And then we're just going to structure it that way. We're going to do 1, 2, and then the 3, we're always just going to hit on some kind of holistic approach to real estate and how we kind of advise our clients and how we kind of lead our life. And hopefully that's useful to you guys. So we'll touch those 3 points today. We'll jump into the first one, which is Pine Mountain Club getting too expensive?
Ooh.
Whoa. Oh, I had a thing for that, but I'm going to skip it. We could just jump into it. So recently there was an assessment raise.
Yes.
Was there not? Yeah, I don't know if you could enlighten. You were kind of watching the YouTube channel and you watched a lot of the live stuff that happened and you were kind of tuned into it. But go ahead and give like a quick breakdown of that situation and I can chime in too to kind of add some color. But it's pretty big news because I believe they raised it about 2 years ago, maybe
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So just for those that don't know, Pine Mountain Club, we are an incorporated and community, which means that we have a governing body that is elected by the members.
Yep.
And the members are the ones that decide who goes on this board, who the chairman is, like who the board members are, and so on and so forth, right? So these board members have a very important role in Pine Mountain Club. And that role is to determine and pass regulations on the behalf of an entire group of people to benefit the community. And
manage the budget too.
Manage the budget. And that is one of the reasons why the assessment was actually raised. There is a YouTube channel. The one thing that's a little bit unique about it is they don't keep all of the...
They're usually unlisted, and then it seems like they might delete them after.
They either delete them or they just don't
make them private or something.
They don't make them.
Yeah,
I don't think they make them private because even if you follow, you can't watch.
Can't find it.
So you have to almost be ready to watch. This 2 to 4 hour meeting. Either go in person, which tends to be Saturday mornings, and unfortunately, because of our schedule and the schedule of a real estate agent, most of our clients come on Saturdays. We're not able to attend them in person. Yeah. I think we've only been to 1 or 2 meetings, since we've ever lived there in person. But we always do our due diligence in watching them as soon as they're available. So I'll try to put the link below, and if it works,
it's still up,
great. And if it doesn't, sorry. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that people are tuning into that so that you can get the full picture and the full story behind it and not just get one information. So this governing body decided to pass an assessment increase, and this was 2 weeks ago. I believe it was 2 weeks ago.
2-3 weeks, yeah.
2-3 weeks ago. And no, 2 weeks ago for sure.
Okay.
And 3 weeks sounds pretty far. But so the assessment prior to this increase was $1,788 a year. So for those that split it up in a month, that's about $150 every month. And now the current assessment starting this year, so you're not going to pay, most people are a little confused and asking me, you're not paying this year $1,780 a year, you're paying the new assessment.
It's already been passed.
It's already been passed and it's in effect. So everybody this year is going to, and it's due in June 1st every single year, is going to have to pay so $1,928, so $1,928. And you can split what that looks like in a month. And the one thing that I do appreciate about the association is that you can really pay for it at your convenience. So if you want to do prepayments, if you want to do monthly payments, if you want to do quarterly payments, if you want to do one lump sum, then they'll go ahead and take that. And but it is due June 1st. there are accommodations they can make for you as a member. So just make sure you connect with them, because I don't want to give you any other dates besides June 1st, because that's what we are all called to pay it at. So that means a couple of things for our community.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking me, Karen, can the association really pass this? And the answer is yes.
Of course.
So I believe the max they can exceed or they can increase an assessment to is about 20%.
Before everyone gets to vote on it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think 20%
20%
would be
quite a bit.
It's quite a bit. So this was an 8% increase.
So they didn't have to.
So they did not have to. It was just one of those things in the meetings where, and everybody goes, everybody on favor, say aye, and everybody opposed.
Nobody was
say
opposed.
Nobody was opposed. So it passed. And they did give a brief description by, I believe it was the budget, someone from the budget committee came up and discussed it. Again, I just watched it like a week or so ago, so I don't remember clearly. So I'll try to link it below so you can watch it if it's still available. It's still up.
And the minutes for the finance committee is all online. So we could probably link that stuff too.
We'll probably just link that. And then the video, I mean, I think a lot of people consume differently. People are not going to go through a PDF and just but
so we can give you the TLDR, the too long didn't read.
Correct. But essentially, we have a new assessment, and the new assessment is 1928.
So I'll say this, for or against it, irrelevant. That's not what this conversation's about, because it's happened. That's it. Objectively, it's a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys are prepared to pay a little extra more this year.
Yeah.
I think where we can add some flavor and we can add some color to the conversation is, what do you predict that's going to do to the real estate market? I think that's where we can kind of add our POV. So whether you're for or against, that's a whole different kind of worms that we don't necessarily have to jump into because it's already passed.
Yeah, and there's some forums on Facebook where people are, discussing and sharing their opinion.
There's two sides of it, yeah.
And if you have concerns, the board is very much open about you writing to them.
Yep, you can go there.
You connecting with them. So we're not here so much to discuss whether you are for it or against it. We're just here sharing and stating the fact that this was a new...
Yeah. It's new. You should know it if you're buying or if you own.
Correct.
And then second, like I said, whether you're for or against, in this podcast, we're neutral to the fact, but we are going to give our personal, professional opinion on what that we expect that to do in the market.
Correct.
That we can do without even having to take a side of it.
Yeah.
So I can jump into that. It goes two ways, and then you can add some. You can jump in too. I think because we have two different parties up there, right? We have people that currently live there, and then we have people that are moving there. I honestly don't think this is going to deter somebody that's coming from, a Camarillo or a Santa Barbara or a Los Angeles County, Los Angeles. I don't think it's gonna. They're gonna be like, whatever. My HOAs in our area are like $800 a month,
300, 500,
something crazy, to have like a little gym and some spa that nobody uses. Like, they're paying a lot in those areas. So when they hear it went up $100 or 100 and some change or whatever, it's just kind of, it's like, it's a moot point. There's not that big of a deal. Who I do think this is going to affect, and who I've seen kind of make their claim in like our different community forums, I think it's just some of our neighbors that do have like fixed incomes, and every year they know exactly what they're going to spend,
right?
How much they're going to spend. This little bit can totally push them over the edge, where like PMC probably, if they're having to do this every year, who knows? Because there's, like you said, there's no cap. It's as long as it's under 20%, we don't necessarily have a say in whether it's going to get passed or not. And it's a double-edged sword, because if stuff has to get done, the reason I love PMC is because of the condition it's in. So it's a double-edged sword. I totally get it. And I can appeal to both sides. But I totally understand that for some people, like if they keep raising this 150, 90, 80 every year, eventually my fixed income, it's called the fixed income for a reason. I don't have the capability to increase it. So I think for those people that are kind of in that situation, it's going to affect them in the sense that, this may not be able to be the place that they can be at, and that sucks.
Right.
But I think for people moving in, most of them are probably going to, it's not necessarily it's going to affect them. So I don't think it's going to affect the market in the sense, like, it's not going to be this devastating crash like the Airbnb ban was. But I do think people are going to ask like good questions, like, how can this happen, or how often will this happen, Karen?
That's a pretty common question.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very practical question.
It is.
And I think I would ask that, and I asked that obviously, and inquired about that when we were purchasing, and we were on realtors. So of course, we know all the information, but I think that one of the things that I will, just to kind of go back and chime a little bit on the video and on the meeting, from what I recall, again, one of the biggest things, it started off by, I think they were talking about a lot of different things. They were talking about a lot of different things and talking about different regulations, and then I think they were just talking about different points. Sorry, my phone rang and then I lost my thought. But at some point, again, like I said, a budget went up, and the budget got kind of described a couple of the things that the budget was going towards.
That is pie chart, all that stuff.
Yeah, I believe so. And we didn't get to see it, of course, because the camera is at a specific angle when you're watching online. I don't know if there was a pamphlet or something passed around at the meeting, but it might be available in the minutes online. But what I will say is they did break down where that money was going to. Yes. And so I think the best thing we could do is, encourage you guys to go back and read those minutes so you understand specifically where all the money is going to. Because one of the things that happened is they pass it, everybody votes on it. And then the next thing that happened was a couple of people went up and kind of had shared sentiments before they passed, or they passed this. Yep. So they left an open forum available. They had someone from the budget committee go up and discuss where the breakdown was, and then people discussed it. And I think that, echoing what you said, a lot of the people that communicated their biggest concern about this is individuals that already live and have property in Pine Mountain Club, a lot of retirees, a lot of people who are in a very fixed income, a lot of individuals who are just not in a position to get another job. You got to remember too, Pine Mountain Club. So if
not a lot of employment either.
There's very limited opportunities of employment. You either could work in some of our local restaurants,
maybe for the clubhouse or the water company. Yeah. Or
the water company, the clubhouse, has limited opportunities, and or you're commuting every day. And if you're if you're retired, or if you have limitations with your health, or 100, it's actually 140. So the assessment went up exactly $140. And so if it were to continue to be increased every year, and again, for some people, for some buyers, this is not a big deal breaker, but it may be a big deal breaker for some of the current owners and people that live here. So I do feel like that is going to impact our community. That potentially may impact the potential sellers, put people in situations where they have to sell. Right. Again, I'm not saying $150. Isn't a lot of money. For some people, it's a lot of money, and we cannot discredit that, and we cannot minimize that. So I feel like those are the two perspectives.
Totally. And I think the fear, the 150, it sucks, right? That number could have been anything. It could have been $20. I think the big fear is what's the cap. And when you read the CC&Rs, I think that's where people get concerned. Even me as a realtor and a homeowner there, that's where I get concerned.
Right, because 20% would have been closer to $400.
Yeah, and they could have did 19.8% increase and not have to get a vote on it. Yeah. So that's always something to I think about and be mindful of as a homeowner up there, and somebody prospectively looking to purchase up there. But like I said, it's a double-edged sword. That's why when you're driving up the mountain, once you pull into PMC, you know it. Like, the signs look all cute, and there's a beautiful little welcome sign, welcome to PMC, that that was constructed recently, and
I believe that was done also by the commercial build.
It's commercial, but I think people like to contribute to the community out there.
Of course,
because it is a nice kind of hidden gem, and it's a nice gem because all of us owners are willing to back that, and everything's gotten more expensive. I mean, eggs, everything. So it makes sense.
I mean, we went to have lunch today, and we couldn't believe it because it was just a sandwich.
But I went to the Subway, and we're so used to like $5 foot. This was $30 foot long. How did we spend so much? We had two sandwiches.
Yeah, it was little sandwich, but it's fine. Yeah. So I think going back to our biggest, you probably saw the title in this video, and you probably thought, is Pine Mountain Glen more expensive? I mean, $140 is more. Yeah, it is more. The properties are going to appreciate. The market is a little unique. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But I think that we just kind of wanted to share that with everybody, especially if you haven't been reading or you aren't subscribed to the PMCPOA and newsletters if you don't get our newsletters, like if you don't, if you're just not as involved or you just have been busy with life and haven't tuned in, the assessment did go up. So you have to account for that. 8%, $140 more you have to account for and bring to the table.
So just, I think if you're an owner, you're planning to own, I think the moral of this segment is know when those meetings are happening and figure out a way to be able to watch it.
Correct.
Because I feel like there may be some people here watching that didn't even know that happened. Because I've communicated with some people that they're like, obviously, everybody knows that. But I have talked to people where they're like, that happened? It's like, yeah, it totally happened. So it's interesting that you haven't heard that it's happened. But know that the prices have gone up. The assessment has gone up. They did disclose that they may have to go up again in the future to catch up to the, I believe in the pandemic, they halted a lot of the spending and the raising.
They did communicate that back in 2020. I think I recall a meeting or something where the association could very much, they communicated that they wanted to do an increase in 2020, but due to the circumstances and due to COVID,
kind of held back.
They held back, giving everybody notice, letting them know, hey, we're not doing it now due to the circumstances, but expect that. Yeah. So it's been 2 years since the last assessment. I think the last assessment was 2021.
Yeah.
And it went from 1624 to 1788. So 1788. So 1788 minus 1624. It went up 164.
So it's a little more now.
And then from 1788 to 1928, like I said, that's 140. Yeah. So, it's a little less than the last assessment. I mean, the last increase, but again, it's just a little bit of a raise. I think for us, we're definitely in a position where we could move forward in pocket, give that. But I know not everybody's in that circumstance. And we just have to be aware of that and support our local businesses. Support if you're needing a local vendor, I'm happy to connect you to the people that have supported us. So we just want to help our neighbors and we want to give back to the local community because it's important. So make sure you're using a local realtor. We're local realtors. We, contribute so much to the community. We love stopping by the little shops and giving back to our friends and our neighbors because we are what make Pine Mountain Club. So just keep that in mind. Remember, June 1st is the deadline. 1st. We're going to put it right here. We're going to link everything we can down below in the description. And hopefully you can just stay consistent with the meetings and watch them to be informed and feel good about what's happening.
Yeah. So we're not officially saying they're going up again, but it has been disclosed that they will. We just don't know how much. So you'll be will be one of the first places that you get to hear that.
Yeah, and one of the things that is still back and forth in communication, and this is another topic, and we could cover it another time. And again, it's not so much, there's a lot of conversations about there being a remodel for the clubhouse.
Oh, the clubhouse.
And
is that still a thing, or has that, what's been the conversations on that?
I think what I'm going to do is we're going to link all the information we can down below. But for those that don't know, the standard POA, Property Owner Association assessment went up. We already discussed that. And there may be a potential and assessment additional for, I believe, 3 years that they may add on. And again, nothing has been passed. There was a survey that was sent out to all of the homeowners and a couple months ago and to kind of gauge everybody's feeling, and it was 3 different choices from what I remember.
I think the general consensus was no from what I've heard.
But I think it wasn't so much a yes or no. It was just
how do you want to break it down?
How do you want to break it down? Do you want to break it down where you
pay
one
payment,
or do you want to break it down where there's a couple of payments? Do you want to break it down where there's a loan that you take against this, with the POA, from what I remember. So I think that there is, all those things are still in conversation. And I always disclose this to my potential buyers because the last thing I want is for them to be surprised. And so again, just keep that in mind.
Cool. So if you want the scoop on the hill about all this stuff, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel and we'll keep keeping you guys posted on
Yeah, we're going to always give you very general information. Sometimes we'll share our perspective. Sometimes we'll share on how it's going to affect the market. And then we're going to also, definitely if they do pass outside of this increase, if they do pass a big monetary assessment for the remodel, I think that is going to impact the real estate market a lot.
Pretty drastically.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That hasn't happened. But what I will say is make sure you always go back. PMCPOA dot.
I think, is it an org?
Is it net? I always forget.
.net.
I'm so sorry, guys. It's just saved on my browser, so I just don't really have to. PMCPOA.
Kind of a rat's nest to find it. So it'll be linked in the description, the exact place where all the documents are, the minutes and the CC&Rs.
Right, and if you just typed it on Google, it'll be the first thing. It is a net. I knew it.
.net.
It is PineMountainClub.net, and it should look something like this. It should be, just like a Pine Mountain Club.
PMC what?
PineMountainClub.net. PineMountainClub.net.
Dang.
I don't know why.
Somebody got the .com.
Somebody got .com. But if you just go on Google and if you type PMCPOA, it'll be the first available business, and you can go to the website.
So we'll link it, make it easy. We'll link to the direct documents too.
Yeah, just go ahead and always do your own due diligence. I mean, we're here to just redirect you to that.
You can always call us too, and we can chat about it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's that. We'll keep you guys posted on all the board stuff and the director stuff as it comes along.
Increases.
Anything major that's going to come through PMC, we'll be sure to share about it with you guys here. But we can jump into the second point, and this is specifically about the Bakersfield market. And
why are we talking about Bakersfield?
We're talking about Bakersfield because we've talked to people, and it's only because we're people who've purchased a property here. And now we have a portfolio property in Bakersfield, but we also have clients that live here. Yeah, we have clients that live here full time. They've owned in PMC, and their property is their primary residence in Bakersfield. But they're even like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe the prices are as high as they are here. Like we've lived here for X 20, 30, 40 years. Like we grew up here, and we've never seen prices inflate in the Bakersfield Valley as fast as we've seen them rise in like the last 2-3 years. So there's this housing boom that's kind of like if you don't have the stomach to move to Arizona or Texas, it's kind of like, all right, we're going to the Antelope Valley or we're going to Bakersfield. That's what it seems like. And so we have a ton of transplants coming in from, the coastal counties, the metropolitan counties out in LA. But people are just starting to gravitate. They're saying it's actually not too bad of an area. Super affordable, and it's still close enough to the places that I used to live, or my family may still live in Santa Clarita or the Valley. It's just through the grapevine I can get there in about 2 hours time. Like that might be a viable option for me to move. And so it's booming, and we're kind of experiencing it in different ways. Like we're seeing prices go up, but we also have clients shopping out here, and they're like,
we're helping buyers.
Yeah, what the heck they're like, what the heck is going on? Like they're putting offers and they're just getting outbid left and right. So I thought it was worth bringing up because this market's booming, and are people sleeping on Bakersfield? I think they are.
I think they are. So one of the things that it really is so beautiful about Bakersfield, and this is just from my personal experience and walking around town, or when we're shopping, or when we're just, doing life here, or just whatever, is how incredible the people and hardworking they are. And some of the clients that we currently are working with, they have blue collar jobs. Like I'm talking about
blue chip workers. Yeah.
They, work really hard, and they labor with their hands, and I'm not, they don't have budgets that are $500,000 or $1 million, but guess what? They have a good enough budget where they could buy something really, really great here.
Yeah, nice little house.
2 mid to high, 2s, low threes could still get you a nice little 3-bedroom, 1 or 2 bath, 1,200, 1,500 square foot home in a decent area. It just kind of depends what you want. Obviously, the higher the budget, the better. And so if you've been seeing my TikToks and you're like, oh, okay, you're in Bakersfield now too, what? And I feel like it was just a normal, natural expansion for us. Yeah. And I feel like it was one of those things where when you are getting more people, when something continues to come your way, you just kind of have to really explore that. Yeah. So I feel like helping a lot of these buyers really has made a big difference, I think, for us too, in understanding and appreciating and every single dollar that is made and how everybody spends it. I mean, we're helping anywhere from, people that are from LA that are investors and want to buy something, do an investment, something newer construction and rent it out, or, something a little bit more fixer upper and, flip it, to house cleaners, individuals who are working so hard for their family and are wanting to have a little piece of land here because they've lived here for over 10 years. And so it's just been really incredible to step into a place of adding value, adding support, and just giving them our perspective. And I think that when we bought a house here and we decided, we're going to invest in Bakersfield, it was a very purposeful decision.
Yep.
And so I think that, and again, it's one of those things where when you're growing a real estate portfolio and when you're growing and deciding to put your hard-earned money somewhere, real estate, despite of its, up and down,
cyclical. It's cyclical.
It's going to be appreciated. Yeah. So I really do feel like that's one of the things that, going back to the point, is the Bakersfield housing booming? Yes, there's not a lot of inventory.
Very little.
I kid you not, anytime I'm looking with some of my buyers, I tell them, you have to look and you have to submit an offer today because there's already 5 or 6 offers, especially something in the 2s and the 3s and the 4s. Like
nice
that's
area.
probably going to move a lot quicker because there's more fish in that pond than something higher than that. But so that's just kind of the name of the game. But the fact that a lot of these properties are already, and like I said, when you're working with individuals who are deciding to do FHA financing, right? And not every seller is going to accept that. So we just have to be a little bit more strategic and help our clients. And that's when, we step in and support. So it's just been really great because I think it's really for us. And if you know us, you know that, of course, real estate is livelihood and it is part of our income. It's our job. However, there's just nothing that replaces when we support people, when we support other agents be better, when we support our clients get the house that they want. So it's just a joy.
No, it's cool. And I mean, there's a stat, and I'm going to put an overlay when I'm talking about this, but I believe it's over 80% of the people that are buying the homes in Bakersfield. Because it tells, you can get all these metrics from the GMLS, which is the MLS that supports Bakersfield. But it talks about how there's a thing where it talks about where people are moving from, like whether it's out of state, and almost 60% are moving from California. Now you're like, what does that mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. Because there's people that move in you guys kind of intermingle meaning you live in Bakersfield, you bought something in Bakersfield. A majority of the people buying here do not live in Bakersfield.
Right.
So that's the stat. And they're people typically our age. They're about 30 all the way up to 50. That's their age range. They may have a couple kids.
Bakersfield Association of Realtors bringing the stats. Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, the interesting stat is the majority of the people buying here don't live here.
Crazy. I know. I was just talking to someone that moved from San Francisco.
Yeah.
So it's like
and the neighbors to one of our properties, they came from where you came from, right? They came from West Covina.
From West Covina. Well, I didn't move. I mean, I lived there growing up. Then I moved to college and then
You've been all over, but you grew up in West Covina.
But I grew up in West Covina. So
that's where they were from.
They were from there. Yeah. And I just thought, wow.
And then when we were getting my smog done, the guy that owned the smog shop, he was from downtown Los Angeles.
Yep. And he decided to come here. Why? Because his little shop.
He said, he's just like, I'm telling my family, man, you guys got to stop living week to week and paying this exorbitant amount of money to live in an area you can't even enjoy. He's like, so I'm trying to evangelize all my friends and family to move here. And I'm like, no, dude, I totally understand. But that's the stat. And the reason I'm saying this is because we've had a couple clients and they have cold feet where they're like, I don't want to pay a little bit more for mortgage. And I'm like...
Because their rent is so good here.
Yeah, their rent is good, and I'm trying to, I'm trying to admonish and share. The thing is, man, if you wait another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, another decade, 2030.
I'm talking 2 years.
Yeah, if you wait longer, you're always going to be renting. Like it's going to be, as much as I want to live in the San Fernando Valley where all of my family lives, I can't afford to live there comfortably. As much as I want to live in Porter Ranch where it's nice and it's clean and neighborhoods are super cute. I'm not going to buy $1 million house that's the equivalent to like a $600,000 house here. I'm just not going to do that.
Yep.
And the people here that can still, they might have to edge themselves a little forward and maybe stretch a little bit.
Be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah. The thing is they can still support that mortgage, but as people kind of flock to Bakersfield and demand keeps getting crushed or demand keeps going up, but inventory keeps getting crushed, a lot of the locals, they're just not going to be able to afford to own something for themselves. They're always going to live in like a perpetual state of renting. And there's nothing wrong with renting, but if you could afford to own something, that's when the magic happens, because you could start moving your equity into a new house. You can pay that down, save up, upgrade into another house in 5 years, but you can you can establish your family for years to come. Like it's delayed gratification, right? Like, okay, we're gonna test our budget a little bit, and we might have to pull back on some of the things we like to do. But in a decade, that house is going to have so much equity in it. Like, you're going to have room to play. And my fear is like the people that are local here, it's hard to beat LA money. It's hard to beat Oxnard, Santa Barbara money. Like, these people are bringing their remote jobs, and it sucks for the community. But that's why I'm urging my like the local homegrown Bakersfield residents. I'm like, if you guys can move into something, like, don't sleep on it, because inventories it's still crushed. And once, I'm already calling it, once these home builders run out of space this way, they're going to start building up this way. That's what happened in LA. It was tract homes. Okay, we're going to make it harder to do that. Okay, it's condos. Okay, we're going to make it harder to do that. All right, now it's apartments. And then eventually all you're going to be able to afford is a little apartment.
Right.
And you're not going to be able to afford a house.
We just really want to empower, we want to empower, if you live in Bakersfield and you're a buyer, you live in Bakersfield and you're renting and you're wondering, like, could I be a home buyer? Like, could I be a home owner? And let's just have a conversation. I think there is nothing greater than to empower you through education. I have incidences where clients have been pre-approved and they are in, they're mechanics, or they're, they work in auto shops, or, they have multiple jobs. And that's just like the nature of people that work here. Right. And, they decide to hold off because their rent is, $800, $1,000. And obviously having to pay something like a mortgage, close to $2,000. That's like double, triple what they're currently paying.
Scary. That's
and
scary.
I understand that, but at some point, this is, you may be what we call in real estate, you may be outpriced out of the market, and you may not have an opportunity to buy. And we're not trying to be, make you scarce, but the fact that some of our friends and colleagues from LA, from other areas, are looking to move here is telling you something. So I think that that's another thing that we're just trying to remind people of, that you want to make sure that you are understanding what real estate is all about. And if you speak Spanish, yo hablo español, yo te apoyo, yo te puedo ayudar. And quiero que tengas una casa, quiero empoderarte, quiero que seas una compradora o un comprador. So I was just saying, I want to empower you. If you speak Spanish and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't have much education, we'll support you. And some of our coordinators are very fluent in English and Spanish, and will support in different ways too. So I'm just so excited, for whoever comes our way. I very strongly feel like this booming here, even though there's not a lot of houses, at some point. And we're going to get to a place where, if the interests go down and sellers get more motivated.
To the races,
then you're going to see a lot of these buyers decide to go back to market, but the competition is going to be up. So if you can, and if you're in a position to do it, go for it, because the last thing you want, and if you're in a different position, if you are, I'm working with other clients who are really well established, who are entrepreneurs, who are teachers, who are just in super great shape, and they're looking to live somewhere more trendy, like downtown Bakersfield. We love downtown Bakersfield. We're learning so much about it. We're going to be doing some videos on it, on just our personal experience. But there's such great, cool people there. There's a lot of businesses that are just booming and are just, there's a lot of really. People are bringing their gifts here, and they're just really transforming the community. So and then of course, people who have lived here for decades. I follow this girl and who has her own like branding studio here, and I just love seeing all the things that she does. So I don't know. I just feel like this may be the perfect place for if you're looking to transplant out, like if you're looking to transplant somewhere from where you're at, and to, yeah, and I know it could be scary because if all your family is in LA and you're 2 hours away or an hour away, if you decide to, you know, come here to Pine Mountain Club as well.
It's doable, but you got to plan it.
It's doable, but I understand that that's going to be a big life change. So that kind of segues into our next topic. I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention.
No, that's good. Yeah, no, you said it perfectly. It's not to fearmonger. It's just land is finite. And eventually builders will run out of space.
Why do you just always come up with this great catch? Say it again.
Land is finite.
Ooh. You're just so amazing.
So
my husband just makes, like, I'm in awe of him every single day. Like, it just plug. Okay,
and then that's reciprocated, of course. But land is finite. So once they run out, prices don't skyrocket until builders run out of space out here. We do have a lot of space in Bakersfield. A lot of it is zoned agricultural. They probably wouldn't touch that because it's kind of protected to make sure we can have produce and stuff. But once the stuff they can build on runs out, that's where you see the prices just go crazy. Yeah. It's just right now you see building developments popping up. Yeah. They're selling out like that.
There's still a lot of new construction.
Yeah, they're selling out instantly. But once that space, that finite space is taken all up and they can't build no more, then it becomes a hot commodity because anything that there's a limited supply of will always be more valuable. Like diamonds, gold, anything that has a short supply and there's no more coming in, that's when property values go up. And even just to share a little vulnerability about our investment property here, we had that thing already has equity in it.
Yeah,
we just purchased that thing.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. Like the incentives are starting to go away. Builders starting to tighten up on the incentives.
Yeah,
and so we're just telling you guys like. Your Theo that's like, nah, bro, the market's gonna crash. Like, stop listening to that dude because it's not. Like, we see this stuff daily.
I keep seeing the TikTok videos of like 2020. I'm gonna wait for the crash to happen. Guess what? Like, I'm driving over some.
Are you
some
sure
of these
about that?
Construction communities sold, and I'm just like, and there's no inventory. And the fact that most houses in Bakersfield have like 4, 5, 6 offers.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's just nuts.
Yeah, like 5 years ago, that wasn't the market, but this market is
just like Pine Mountain. That's like the same thing in Pine Mountain Club.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but starting to see a little bit more. So that's one of the things too. A lot of the times when my clients are like, you know, I love Pine Mountain Club, but I just want something that's just not too remote. We come to Bakersfield and. You know, sure enough, you know, we'll get them into a new construction site and then they'll be like, this is it. Let's buy it. Let's reserve the lot.
New construction's always like, you walk in, you're just like, I don't want to look at anything else. Yeah, I don't want to see anything else after this. But that segued perfectly. So this is kind of like the cuddles part, right? We're really talking about more relationships and holistic real estate. But the third one is, you know, how do you move to a city when it's just like you and your spouse? That's a good question. And we've been servicing a lot of, young couples or people our age, even like kind of bachelors, bachelorettes, and they're considering moving to like a PMC or a Bakersfield, but yeah, they may be from one of the outside counties. And that's intimidating to be like, I'm moving to a new city. Like, what do I do? How do I have all my friends and my family, like everything that I do is here. And yeah, dude, a 2-hour commute, it's going to change up who you want to hang out with. Yeah. It's going to totally change that. So I think this third segment, we can definitely talk about and I think give our advice and kind of admonish those people who are thinking of moving to a new city. And they may not be moving to a city where they have like an established family and, you know, they're just kind of linking up with people that are already there that have gone before them. But they might be going fresh, don't know anybody, completely clean slate. What do you do?
Or they may know someone and then they move. Wink, wink to their friends.
So we're seeing a lot of people, and we can kind of see the hesitation and the insecurity. We can't say there's a happy ending if you commit to it because we've lived that. We've already done it twice. But yeah, like what would be your advice to somebody that's maybe the thing that makes them afraid. Like, it's so different. It's so alien. I'm so used to my routine where I live, but I also want more out of life. And I'm ready to do that with my spouse or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. You know what I mean?
These are such great questions and topics. I think that this specific topic about moving somewhere and redoing life is a big deal, especially for if you are in a husband-wife relationship. I don't want to say I don't want to say for, I don't want to speak for all the women, but if you're a woman, you may relate to this feeling of, I want to be close to my family. If you grew up very close to your family, I'm very close to my mom, who I called daily, multiple times. And my sisters, I'm very close to my grandma. And that's just always been my life. Like we've always just been in sync. And I think that going from, and I did it, when you're in college or when you're a professional, you have to do what you have to do because you just, you're focused on school, you're focused on work. And I always had kind of like an hour buffer with them.
Yeah.
When we moved to Pine Mountain Club, I had a 2-hour
almost 2
buffer.
Yeah.
And I feel like I am one of the things that I will say for someone, whether you're moving to Pine Mountain, whether you're moving to Bakersfield, or whether you're just moving to another city with your spouse, and let's say it's just the two of you with your pups. If you have little pup kids like we do, we have little pupperinos. We have 2 doggies. And, or if you have kids, like we can't relate to that just yet in that season. That's still something that we're, waiting on. But I think that for a lot of the women, we may feel like, am I going to find that community? Am I going to find friends?
Yeah.
Am I going to be okay? Am I going to thrive there? And all those, what ifs, right? And I think what I will say to, and maybe you can, speak to the men a little bit, but like, I think from the women's perspective, one of the things that I will share is you just really have to trust the process.
Yeah.
You have to trust your relationship. You have to trust your vision together. You have to trust what you feel called to do. And everybody does it for different purposes. I mean, if you have been watching our podcast or if you know us, you know that we're big believers. We identify ourselves as Christians and we are big believers of Jesus and Holy Spirit and God. And we very much lean into, and that sustains a lot of our everyday and a lot of the decisions that we make, even though they may not be the decisions that most of our friends or families make. We feel like, and that may be another thing too, because I remember one of my clients that I helped, one of the couples was like, my family thinks I'm crazy. I'm moving to the middle of the mountains. They just think I'm crazy. They just don't think I should do this. And she was going through a really hard time during the escrow process because she just did not feel supported. And one of the things that I will say is just, whether you have faith or not, whether you believe in the same things we do or not, you don't have to, but I'm just saying, if you feel called with your husband to step into a new opportunity for your family, an opportunity for your life, an opportunity, whatever calls you to a specific place. Maybe it's a financial matter as well. I have a client right now they're in a position where they're looking to move to Pine Mountain because they cannot afford the city, and we're here and we're like trying to find them a place. And I just kind of feel like you just really have to trust yourself and you can't look outward for validation. You have to really trust that relationship that you're in, and you have to do life with your partner. And because first and foremost, this is the commitment, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's what I would say. So don't, trust the process, I think would be my biggest encouragement, because there's going to be a lot of what ifs and a lot of fears, as well as excitement, right? I'm leaning more towards like the worry part of it or the what if part of it. But I do feel like that tends to be a big reason why sometimes people don't make a bold move like that, because they just feel like, what is going to happen? The unknown. Yeah,
no. And I would encourage it too, just in the sense of, if you're a young married couple or, for us, we're like coming into those middle-aged years. This is our 5th year being married. But it's like moving to like a new city is probably going to be, it's not like, oh, let's go buy a puppy. That is a big decision. It's a different kind of decision, right? There's more weight to it because you're so used to your community and you're so used to what makes you feel safe. And it's like, now I have my partner who is the person that I should be confiding in most of the time. That's the person that's been given to me and I've been given to them, and we've decided to become one person.
Right.
And when you decide to make that move, you feel it. It's like you have so many things. And the way I like to think of it, it's like when concrete sets, right? It's like your whole life you have forms, and you're always afraid when you pull the forms because it's like, is everything gonna fall apart? And everything that I learned just isn't gonna. It's not gonna jumpstart and be there to kind of help me think through different challenges.
Yeah.
But when you finally move with your spouse, it's like those forms are coming off, and it's like you're testing each other's character, everything about like your relationship. You're kind of testing it. Because it's like you may have the phone call, but it's different than having like that community there and that tribe there. It's like, no, we're going off to do like our own adventure and start our own life, right? It's like men and women come together and they leave the house and they become their own household. And so I feel like it is, I would recommend it at least once, even if it's just like, we're going to move to a new city for a year and just try to, rely on one another as a couple. And I feel like even in us doing it, it just calls you, it calls your intimacy so much higher. Because you have to rely on each other when you have to learn how to communicate. Because if you don't, you're going to have a really hard time because that's the only person you're seeing until you can kind of build out a new tribe.
Yeah.
But yeah, my advice is, one, lean into it, even though it might feel scary. And two is like, let it stress you out. Because it's through that stress that you're going to kind of learn more about your spouse, and you're really going to experience them. You're going to see them when they're nervous and they're kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen. And, it helps build that intimacy and that trust. And I think for us, we did it twice in a pretty short amount of time. It forced us to be inward, to grow our own intimacy and grow our own relationship. But it also forced us to kind of look outward. And it's like, who do we want to associate with in this new area? And I feel like for us, it made our marriage more dynamic. And it's like when we go places, we're going together. It's not like we go to the family event and I'm going to go hang out with my cousins, you're going to hang out with my brother. It's like, no, we go to somewhere, we're on the same page.
I think, so I think the two things I hear, so what would be the word that you would, because I say trust, I said, step, how to, right? If we're giving you a formula, I guess, I know we're kind of sharing a lot. Trust the process. What would you say?
I would just say lean into it.
Lean into it.
Yeah, lean into the insecurities.
And I think one of the things that I will say too is be intentional. Yeah. I think you have to be intentional in the places that you step into, the people that you give your heart to, and the way that you also build. Like, you don't feel like I need to have best friends the second.
Yeah. Or
don't feel like I need to have a job the second. I mean, if you're in a position where you have to have a job, I know sometimes people move and one partner can, there's a flexibility.
Sustain, yeah.
But if there's not a flexibility, you have to find a job. I get it. But if there's that flexibility, take your time, take a season to trust the process, lean into what you're doing, and be intentional. Like, being intentional as to the things that you get involved with, and the people that you confide in, the things that you do, the activities that you do. And I feel like, honestly, your spirit, by you just being who you are and the type of person that you are, you're going to attract your tribe. You're going to attract the people that you're most excited about being around. And I think that's one of the things that when you're in a city like Pine Mountain Club, it's very small, but it could also be very polarizing, where people hang out here, and and that's it. So it's like a small city, but it could also, polarizing I didn't mean it in a bad way, but just like people could be doing their own things, right? But at the same time, if you get involved or do certain things, you're going to start to find those people that think just like you.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I feel like this always kind of happens in Pine Mountain Club, which is like a double-edged sword. We end up, I think, meeting the sweetest, most incredible people, and we create incredible friendships where we
spend
time.
Out?
I know, I was going to get to that. Hold on. Where we spend time, become really great friends, doing life together, seeing each other, and then they move.
They move away.
And it's just been kind of bittersweet because it's funny too, because the age and season profile has always been different. It could either be a couple with kids, or it could be just a couple, or it could be someone that's older, that's stages ahead of us. And we kind of like that. But what I'm saying is that like you just have to be intentional, and you can't also like life goes on, you know, like life happens for everybody. And I think if you're coming to a city like Bakersfield, and it could feel more like you're a fish in a big pond because there's like, you know, churches at every corner. There's like community events at every corner. Yeah. There's like events everywhere.
There's urgent cares on every corner.
Urgent cares in every corner. There's like, you know, like there's like the Southwest, Northwest, East, like, and it's funny because you'll go on TikTok and there's these like Bakersfield accounts that like, they're kind of like discriminate, like I guess stereotypical. Is that what he's like?
I think people do that because they want to move here. So they're always like, it's like the worst place. It's, you just don't want people
honestly,
to move here.
The biggest questions that I feel like people ask is like, is Bakersfield a good place to invest? Is there a lot of crime in Bakersfield? Yeah. Is, you know, like a lot of people say really bad things about Bakersfield, think badly about Bakersfield. But what, you know, and some people have a specific notion of like, and that's true, you're going to run into a certain type of individual in certain areas of town. I won't lie about that, you know, like.
But that goes to say, I feel like anybody
that goes to say anywhere.
When it's your hometown, like I'll rag on the San Fernando Valley because I grew up there and I'm sick of a lot of things about that place, but it's still home. Like I love it.
Yeah. So I just feel like it's just funny because I think you just have to trust the process. You got to remember that the people that are meant to be part of your life, like you get to choose that, and it will come in time when you're talking about community. And when I'm talking about also, I'm not just saying about community, trust the process, lean into it, you know, and be intentional. I'm talking about professional goals as well too, because just because you're a stay-at-home mom or just because you have flexibility to not work, or if you work remote, that doesn't mean you're going to feel super energized and excited about what you're doing. So maybe hobbies are going to also be, you know, hobbies or activities. But again, that I think that applies. Like trust the process, because you may not like that, you know, I don't know, that gym, but go try another one, you know, like lean into it, have fun with your, you know, your spouse, figure things out. And I think little by little. So I don't know if we necessarily gave you a step-by-step on how to
I don't think it was a step-by-step, but I think
it was just
nuggets, a lot of nuggets.
I think these are just good things to consider and things that have helped us just kind of stay on the same page, like trusting the process and making sure that we are leaning in, and also at the end of the day, being intentional with what we're here for. And I think that everybody kind of has that calling for a reason, right? Like something's calling you about that place. And what is it? Are you looking to, you know, get a house out of it? Are you looking to get a promotion out of it? Are you looking to an adventure as a couple? Like you have to have a goal, and you have to just trust. And if not, you pivot and you figure it out. Guess what? If you buy a house in Pine Mountain Club, you don't love it. If you buy a house in Bakersfield, you don't love it.
Sell it.
You can sell it. Yeah. If you rent, or if you bought and you're not loving it, guess what? You can, you know, upgrade or what. Like I'm just saying, like things, we complicate life so much. And I know I'm making it sound super easy, because it's not like you could just buy a house like this, or you can't just do certain things at the beat of the heart. But like, all I'm saying is you have to also just enjoy life.
For sure.
That's just good.
That's good. So yeah, I would just say if you're moving and you're thinking of doing it, make that decision with your spouse, make that internal decision if you're by yourself. And I think you said it perfectly. Just kind of trust the process, trust your gut. Yeah. And you're going somewhere new. I feel like a lot of people do that when they want to reinvent themselves. So don't have the same habits. If you're like a recluse and super private, but you got sick of that where you were in LA and you want to go somewhere you could afford a little bit more, then don't do those things that you didn't like about yourself here. Like nobody knows you. You could be, I don't know, you could be like a professional skateboarder. I mean,
don't be like a fraud.
You could reinvent yourself though. You can be extroverted. You can be the guy who wants to go to the places and do the things, and because maybe you see yourself that way, but other people don't. And this is coming to a city gives you the opportunity to do that.
I was watching a TikTok. You know, everybody's on TikTok now. Go follow us on TikTok at the Barrios Co. if you don't yet. There's some new exciting things happening too behind the scenes at the Barrios Co. Rebrand maybe.
Yeah, it's coming.
New things that we're working on.
I'm working on it. Yeah.
We won't really say much, but I'm just so excited.
It'll just happen. So be ready to refollow stuff.
Pivot with us. But what I'm trying to say is one of the things that I saw on TikTok is people are basically, what were we talking about? I lost my train of thought.
About
too excited.
Reinventing yourself.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And I saw this TikTok that basically says that, before reinventing yourself, because I'm thinking of 2 TikToks now.
I don't know. What was the TikTok you were thinking about?
You know what? Let's just, never mind.
For the next episode.
So
we're going to close this out, guys. Hopefully that was helpful. We do have a new segment, so those will always be structured that way, but we're going to end this.
Yeah, so if you're like, you know what, Karen, we're going to have we're going to have a longer podcast.
Always have the long one.
With 3 topics like we did today. Let us know if you like that. Thumbs up.
If you just want to watch one, you could watch it.
But if you just like one, we're also going to just have its own version separate.
Yeah, and you'll see that in our videos on YouTube.
Correct.
So we'll make it easy to digest just one, but it doesn't restrict us from having the conversation we want to have. So that's cool. If you're listening to the whole thing, dude, rock on. Thank you. You're one of our VIPs. Super fans. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
the other day we got a comment from someone saying like, oh, today I'm just bored, like scrolling through, but thanks so much. It was helpful information. Thank you. I don't know who you are, but like, things like that make my day. Like I'm glad the algorithm is pushing us to you so that you can watch us and you're enjoying it. So.
I always think it's just like making content's interesting because you're putting there's some random person watching me and I think that's cool.
I know. And again, you may be excited
someone
about it.
Someone I don't know and
but
they decided to give me 2 minutes of their life.
We're actually living what we talked about and, we're trusting the process. We're being intentional. And at the end of the day, all you could do is lean in and
have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy the process.
Yeah.
So we're going to close this episode out and we have a new segment. So it's called the Closings and Cuddles Tip of the Week. So you guys, I'll let you zoom in right now, but I have...
We have a little...
If you can see that, it's just a little app. It's free. It has ads on it because I didn't pay for the premium. But you spin the wheel.
Yeah,
it's like one of those spinning wheels, and then I'll superimpose it on the screen. But we have 2 options. We have closings and we have cuddles. So depending on what we pick for that week, I'm going to spin it in a little bit. We're going to give you our best advice. If it's a closing advice, we're going to give you our best real estate advice. That could
be real estate or business and entrepreneurship.
Business entrepreneurship. That could be directed towards real estate agents, business owners, or people looking to buy real estate or sell real estate.
Yep.
So more business oriented. And if it's closings or if it's cuddles, we're going to give you a piece of our favorite kind of a good tip or maybe something we're learning that week about our relationship or relationships in general.
Family or just
friends. So it's the Closings and Cuddles Tip of the Week.
Health, wellness, all that good stuff. Because we're always improving too.
I'm going to go ahead and spin it and we'll see what we got for this week.
Rumble.
Hey!
Hello! Closings! How fun!
So
we need to get like a little.
We can probably get a real one.
Let's get a real one. That would be so fun. Okay, closings.
Closings. So what is your real estate tip of the week?
Real estate tip of the week.
What's your tip of the week? Your closing tip of the week.
My tip of the week is going to be to take feedback. So I'm going to share that because this week we had to do that with ourselves and we had to also do that with one of our employees.
Yep.
And it's really important to, I think, take into mind that we're all human beings, right? We all are doing life and there's things that are affecting us. And family life happens, work life, happens. And I think that we really look at our employees and our life as a holistic, we're big on that holistic approach. And one of the things that we have to do this week is get feedback to ourselves and get feedback to our employee. And I think that a lot of the times people are not receptive enough for feedback. So if you want to be a top producer, a top producing real estate agent, if you want to one day be a business owner, if you want to be in this space at all, content creation, you have to be open to feedback and you can't take things personal. You got to remember that at the end of the day, you are essentially here. All of the things that we do, whether it be content, whether it's real estate, or whether it's, business and us being we have to add value. We really have to give back and be of service before anything. So I think having feedback is really important and taking feedback is important, but most importantly, make sure that you are taking in feedback and really letting it sink in and finding solutions to meet those expectations in that season that you're in, right? Mm-hmm. So that would be my tip of the week.
That's really good. That's a good tip. That's a good piece of advice. My tip of the week would be if you do have a business, and so I'll speak from our personal business, I would say don't be afraid to reinvest back into it and make your product offerings better for your clients. So every time we're always looking for new ways of making our clients' experience a little bit better, giving them more value. But for us, one of the things that I enjoyed investing back into the company was HomeBot. So HomeBot was a really cool tool.
Yes.
And we've already paid for it up front for a certain amount of users. But that's like a tool where every month they'll get a digest on the current value of their home, its mortgageability, how much equity they can pull out, whether it makes sense to rent it out or short-term rent it out. And so we've already kind of preloaded that. And so if you can't, I don't think you could buy it if you don't have a real estate license. So we've already pre-purchased that. And I would say for me, if you're one of our clients, or even if you're not, and you just want to know, you want that digest every month.
Yeah, you want to know every month, like, what is my house worth? Like, what?
I would say go ahead and let us know. And if a lot of times it is our past clients that are watching these, if you guys want the HomeBot, it's already been prepaid for. You don't have to do anything. We just kind of add you to that list. And then they'll start feeding you market updates every month. So my tip is always be on top of what your house is doing for you and then how the market is treating your house. Because if you don't know those numbers, you don't really know how your house can be working for you in that season. And so for us, the tool that we reinvested back into our business for our clients was HomeBot. So that every month they know how the market is affecting the value of their home and how they can leverage the value of their home to make some investment moves.
I love that.
Moving forward. So my advice is always invest back into your business. And the way we did that was with HomeBot. And you guys have that tool. And I think we can do it for buyers too. It shows you it shows you, the benefit of renting versus owning, and it'll track that real time. So hey, it might be a good time to buy now.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should keep renting until the market does something else.
Absolutely. So, no, I'm really excited. And again, if you're a real estate agent and you want to partner with us too, with EXP, and want to learn a little bit about what we're doing behind the scenes, I think that's a great tool that we can use. And again, if you're a seller, grain of salt, because you got to remember these analytical, data-driven.
They haven't seen your house.
They have not seen your house. They don't know what the community looks like. And that's why it's so important to hire a local real estate agent that's going to support you. So we appreciate you guys so much. And we're excited to be back and doing Closings Cuddles podcast. And anything else?
No, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.